Hello. Are you ready to start painting? The first step to creating a painting is knowing how to mix your paints to get the color that you want. And when you're painting, you really only need 3 colors: red, yellow, and blue. These are the primary colors, and they can be used to mix any color that you want. You can also use white paint to make your paints lighter, black paint to make it darker, gray paint to make your colors muted and toned down, and if you combine all 3 of the primary colors, you can make a brown. Let's take a look at how to mix these paints to get the color, tint, shade, tone, or neutral that you want, and you'll be well on your way to creating your own masterpiece. Behold a basic painting setup. You got your paints with the primary colors white and black. You got a water cup, a rag, a styrofoam plate for mixing, a brush, and a paper or sketchbook to paint on. Now the first step to painting is getting some paint on your brush. Take your brush and always dip it straight in and straight out of the paint. Never stir your brush around inside these paint cups because we need those to stay pure and pristine. Then paint a little spot on your paper. We're just testing out different colors, so it doesn't really matter how you put your paint down, just have fun with it. And you'll want to paint until there's very little paint left on your brush. If there's very little paint left on your brush, depending on the color that you want to paint next, you may not have to wash it when you change colors. If I have just a little bit of red left on that brush, and I dip it straight in, straight out of that yellow will stay pristine. And that little bit of red that was left on the brush will mix with that yellow if I start to kind of stir it around on my mixing tray. And I'm going for an orange color here. When you mix paints on your tray, mix very small amounts of paint at a time, especially for today since we're painting on such a small paper. As you mix, you can dip back into the primary colors and add little bits of paint to adjust the color that you're mixing on your plate. As you mix on your plate, keep the paint in a small little pile. Don't spread it and cover it across the plate, or you won't end up having any paint left to put on your paper. Another good tip for mixing is to roll your brush on your plate. That will get all the extra paint off of it so that you can dip into the other colors without messing them up. And voila! I've used 2 primary colors to mix up a secondary color, orange. Red and orange are also the first 2 colors on the 6-part basic color wheel, which consist of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. You'll want to practice mixing up all 6 of those colors. When you switch from a secondary color like orange to a primary color like yellow, which will be the next color that I paint, you'll need to wash your brush, and that's where your water cup comes in handy. You can use your water cup to swizzle your brush around, and then dry it off on your rag. Now you have a clean brush and you're ready to keep going, trying to mix up all 6 basic colors and paint them down onto your page. When you paint them down onto your page, just kind of put them down in whatever fun way seems right, and you'll end up with a cool little painting as you test out all your different colors. You'll find that the primary colors are very easy to paint because all you have to do is dip your paintbrush into the cup and paint it on the page, but the secondary colors like green, you'll have to mix. And keep in mind that yellow tends to be a bit weaker than the other colors, so when you mix with yellow, add a little bit more of that compared to red or blue when mixing. Put some green down on your page, and then complete all 6 colors by adding blue, and then mixing up a purple. And there's all 6 colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. Now we're ready to talk about tints. A tint is just a fancy term for a color plus white. It's a light color. So if I add white to that purple, now I have a tint of purple, which will be a light purple, a nice lavender color. And then you can paint that somewhere onto your page. Now you can do the same thing with any color. A light red is a pink. You can make a light blue for the sky. Really useful skill. And for our next trick, we'll turn red into dark red using black. This is called a shade of red. Anytime you add black to a color, you're creating a shade of that color. The black paint is very powerful, so you'll find that you need to use very little bit of black with a good bit of the other color so that it doesn't turn completely black. Nice dark red color, very ominous and moody against all those rainbow colors on the paper there. You can add black to any color. Sometimes when you add black to a color, it will make it look a bit brownish, but some colors don't really get darker, they just kind of get browner, like yellow, so that's normal, that happens. This next paint mixing skill is a secret that artists use to turn down the volume on your colors, to tone them down. If you add white and black to a color, that creates a gray mixed with that color, and that is called a tone. And you can see how it just turned down the volume on that yellow a lot. You can still see the yellow color, and it's not really darker or lighter, it's just muted and grayish. And it kind of seems like an ugly color at first, but you will find that these colors are very useful, especially in creating more realistic paintings or allowing the brighter colors to pop out against them. For our final skill, we'll mix up a brown, otherwise known as a neutral. A neutral is made by mixing up red, yellow, and blue, all three primary colors together. Once you've made a brown, you could use that if you just wanted a pure brown color, but you could also add back in a bit of green to it or red to it or any color really to create a brownish version of that color. Here I'm trying to make a greenish brown by adjusting the amounts of the primary colors to have a bit more green and a little bit less red mixed together. Then I've got a nice brownish green that I'll put down on my page as the last color in this painting. And once you complete a painting like this, you will have shown that you can mix paints in every way possible. You can make any color that you want. You can make paints lighter, darker, grayer, and browner. If you have all those skills, you can literally create any color that you want. So now it's your all's turn. Grab your brushes and get ready.